Do you always wonder why you always have cracks in your building after some few years? You always hear stories from your masons that this is the fault, this is what happened. What do you think? So in our videos, we are going to talk about most things that we need to take into consideration when we are building. Things that you did not have to do. Things that you need to know before starting your project. So the SUS Company Limited is here to give us such education information. Kindly stay tuned, subscribe to our channel so that we feed you with such information. Thank you. So viewers, join me as I meet with the team, the experts, the engineers to discuss about things that we do not have to do when building. So stay tuned. Hello viewers, welcome back to this third edition of Don't Make This Mistake when building. We started with the foundation, we went in with the block laying, and today we are going to look at the third edition, which is the flow aspects. What are some of the mistakes that we do commit when we are doing the flow? Yeah, so today I'm here with Mr. Steven and Mr. Jacob to educate us on these things. Yeah, so let's start from let's start with Mr. Steven. Yeah, Mr. Steven. Now we've gotten to the flow level. What are some of the mistakes there too?
Okay, so hi viewers. Let's look at mistakes that we need not to do when doing a flow. In the form work, there are certain things we need not to do. Form work, the steel work, electrical works, the plumbing, and then the concrete work itself. So let's look at these mistakes so that we will not repeat them. You know, when we are coming to do form work, sometimes it's always difficult to buy the wood for the flow, because you need to buy the 2x4, you need to buy the marine board or the plywood, the thicker one, and also you need to have your metal or wooden props. So in regards, do not use weaker woods. Any wood that is almost weak, that is not to be used again, don't use it for your flow, because at that moment that the load is being put on the wood to carry it, is the load that is carrying the load. Is the wood that is carrying the load. So you need your wood to be more stronger to withstand those load. It's more or less like a dead load at that point. So that load is very heavy for the wood to carry. So if the wood is weaker, it cannot carry them. The building can come down within a short time after casting your concrete. So let's work on our wood. The wood should be new, should be strong to allow in carrying the iron rod, those small electrical and plumbing works that will come in place, and then the flow itself. So it's very important to have that in place. And how you fix those wood, the decking works, how you fix the decking works, the 2x4 being fixed correctly, and also the sideboarding to avoid the concrete being poured on the floor, and then you realize that the edges are coming out more because of the pressure from the concrete. The alignment is no more there, and also you are casting the concrete and you in a way that maybe an opening that you fix wood, or a beam that is opening because the carpenter hasn't fixed it well. So let's avoid those mistakes when decking or doing form work to our floor.
Yeah. So one thing we used to realize is that I don't know since it's because of I don't know if it's because of the cost of the woods and all those stuff. We realize that people rather go in for the used woods that has been used to do a decking work somewhere. Is it also advisable that way?
It's advisable to use them, but you need to select because some are more wicked. You don't need to use those ones. There are some that will be okay that you can use them again because maybe you reuse it 3 times, 4 times. It might not reach the 4th time or the 5th time. Then you cannot use it again. So you need to select it and then add new ones to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's clear here. And sometimes also we also realize that they do put this rubber,
Yeah.
yeah, on the woodworks, yeah, before doing the concrete.
And I think it's
What
a
is it
good
for?
yeah, it's a good thing to do. Sometimes, let's assume I have a new plywood
Yeah.
for the floor works, the decking works. That plywood, I want to reuse it like 5 times
Yeah,
or
continuously.
7 times continuously. I wouldn't cast the concrete on the bare board because the concrete paste, which is the watery or the water content in it,
Yeah.
can soak the plywood, so it will get damaged within a short time. Therefore, we mostly, whether you are using marine board, you are using normal plywood, or even wawa board, you can equally use the rubber. Lay the rubber very well before you start doing your iron works on it,
Okay.
just to make it last longer for you. And then when you see the surface of the floor, it look very smooth. If you don't want to do any kind of ceiling work, falling ceiling works, just do your skimming and get it smooth, simple.
Okay.
So it saves a lot when it comes to that.
Okay. Yeah. Before we move on from this formwork issue. Now, plywood and wawa board. Which one is the best to use when you are doing your?
Which one is the best?
Yes. Should we go for
It depends on your
wawa
pocket.
board?
You can consider to use wawa board.
Okay.
You can consider to use plywood. You can consider to use
Marine.
marine board or even PVC board.
Oh, okay.
It's now coming into the system.
Oh, okay.
So it depends on the one that you can afford.
Okay. So they are all good.
They are all okay.
Okay.
But don't use the weaker ones.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I think it's clear now, James. Very, very clear. So don't use the weaker ones, that's weaker boards for your formworks. Yeah. Now let's move on to the next point.
The next point is steelworks. The steelworks, we have steel benders. We have some that when you see them, you see a structure engineer.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they are steel benders. But you see them, you see a structure engineer. It's like they can do a perfect job for you. A perfect job that a steel bender can order a steel bender to do. A perfect job that a structure engineer can order a steel bender to do. So I'm just saying that some of the steel benders, they can act like structure engineer, not fully, but the inputs that they have is superb, is massive, because they know the job. So those are the experienced steel benders that you need to involve
Do you have
in
one?
your flow.
Do you have one?
Very well, we have one.
In the SUS
We
company?
have. We
Good.
have those massive projects that we have.
Yeah, that's
They are the one working on
500
it.
capacity.
Yes, another one that you
Yeah.
see. They are the one working on
Oh,
it.
nice.
Yeah. So that is why I said you will see them like structure engineers,
Yeah.
even though they are not structure engineers. They cannot design. But when it comes to knowledge in steelwork, they have it. Yes. Those are the people that you need to engage when doing a flow. because there are certain areas you need to, after putting your 4 beam, your drop beams, there are areas that you also need to do secret beams to still hold those areas and strengthen that site. So if you go in for a mere store bender who knows how or who needs instruction from engineer or other things and refuse to request for that kind of instruction to do his work and he's using his own mind, you realize that they do a lot of mistakes. Sometimes we do overlapping on the iron rods, like you overlap and then you let only the center to remain single and the edges making it double, so that you are only providing a very good strong strength for the concrete to be sustainable, to sustain to years. So you need to look at a very good steel bender to do your work. It shouldn't make it like instead of using 16 mm for the beam and he decides to use 12 mm, which using the 12 mm, how to treat it to be special, he doesn't know how to do it because nobody is watching him, nobody is giving him advice how to go about it. He's doing his own work and then it will cause different things in tomorrow.
So let's say instead of using 16 mm and I decide to go in for 12 mm, does it affect the building?
It affects. Therefore, if you are to use 16 mm, 4 in number, and you are using 12 mm, you have to increase the number to be able to attain the same strength. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how to correct it when you replace the right size.
Maybe they've given you the dimension that you use 20 mm iron rods, milestone 4 number for this particular beam, and you have 16 mm high tensor already on site. You can equally use the 16 mm by you increase the size. It's calculation.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you need to consult your structural engineer. This is the decision you are taking. Then you put heads together and work it out perfectly. Many professionals has come in on board to negotiate and then look at dialogue and then look at the correct way of treating it, but not near mason steel bender trying to put his mind together to work it out.
Yeah. So with the iron rods, you made mention of some, is it brand?
Okay, we have the high tensile.
Yeah.
Some are foreign, some are local.
Okay.
And then we also have the milestone, which is the locally made one too.
Okay.
So it depends the types that you want to use.
Okay. They are all perfect, or
they are all okay. They are all okay in the market. I've not seen any other cheaper one which is not good. I've not seen that yet.
Okay.
But the ones that we've been using, they are okay.
Yeah. But they all also depend on your pocket.
On your pocket.
Yes.
Yeah. Whichever one that you want.
Yeah. The high tensile is more expensive than the milestone.
Yeah. Because one of your projects I saw at Minivan, I realized that you use more of high tensile.
Yes.
Why?
Because
Is it
we are doing the project in the beach fronts.
Okay.
You see, this is the building, this is the beach.
Yeah.
So we are doing it at beach fronts. We need to put things in place to make the building last for long. Yes.
Okay. Alright. I think with the steel work, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Now let's move on to the electricals. Mr. Jacob.
Yes, sir.
Please educate us. What are some of the mistakes you do make when, or let's say at the electrical section?
Okay, so thank you very much. Since we are talking about the flow, let's limit ourselves.
Okay.
Some of us, we don't follow the electrical drawings. Yes, so so far as we know that Carpenter has finished his work, Stone Bender has finished his work, all that we need is let's put in pipes without even considering the quality of pipes that we needed. And don't also forget that that pipes is going to be inside the concrete. For that matter, you need to use the rigid, the quality pipe that can contain that concrete. Other than that, when you are pulling or drawing your cables, you will find it very difficult to do so. And also, people used to miss the layout. That is where lighting is supposed to be. They don't put those things in place. And also where fans supposed to be, they don't. Where data supposed to be, they don't. They just go ahead and put what that is required for them to do. No, we don't go by it that way. So we need to consider that one as well. And also, after we do our layout, we also need to glue it. Use the S100 glue to make sure that our pipes are well connected to the junction box. So with this, let's just leave it here since we are only concentrating on the flow for now.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. So, do we have a way of correcting it? Let's say with the connections when the layout is not done well and all those things. Do you have a way of correcting it?
And since it's in the flow, it's very difficult. Very, very, very difficult. But when it comes to it's critical, we can rectify it. That is why it's also good that you contact the experts, so that all these mistakes wouldn't happen when you are doing it. Yeah,
I think it's clear.
Yeah.
It's clear. So we need to use rigid,
a very rigid one.
Yeah. Do our own,
Do our own work. So
and also follow whatever we have.
exactly.
In
That's the drawing. Yes.
How about plumbing works, Mr. Steve?
Yeah, and plumbing works too, though there are few. It's not much works that you need to do over there, but make sure your slope. Most of the time, the slopes are not good. Yes, so it doesn't flow the waste down to the septic tank or to wherever it's supposed to go. So let's consider the slope and the joints. Use the S100 to join the pipes very well, because it's going to remain in the concrete forever. As long as the building lives, the pipes also lives there. When the pipe is not fixed well, the pipe try to depart from each other, and then you see a lot of linkages inside the building, which sometimes you don't understand where the linkage is coming from. So it's very important to do your joining very well, so that you will avoid all these mistakes.
Okay, I think it's clear. It's very clear. It's very clear. Yeah, I think when we follow these things step by step, I think there are some common mistakes that we will avoid, and which will not make us spend more to correct them. Yeah, so viewers, please, let's try to adhere to this educative information to really help us. Yeah, to really help us. So in all, to be able to fulfill all these things, contact the experts. So the Seuss Company Limited is always available. It's always ready for you. All what you need to do is just call the number you can see on your screen, so that we invite them. Then they can educate or they can advise you more when it comes to construction. Yeah. Now let's look at the last point. Let's look at the ratio when we are doing our concrete works. Yeah. Just a summary. Yeah.
Okay, so in all that you've done, from your formwork, your still the plumbing and the electrical aspect, you need to. What we normally do is that when we are done with all those things, we checked we check the formwork, the decking work, if everything is correct, if the nailing of the wood to the wall is correct, so that when we start doing the floor, the concrete work, we will not see our building collapsing. We will not see our some of the formwork opening for the concrete to pour on ground, and to trigger alarm. So we like checking all those things before we start the concrete work. And also we go to the top, pick up those pieces of wood from the iron rod, around the iron rod. We pick those pieces of wood, and we put spacer blocks to get our thickness of the concrete, the cover very well, because the cover is very important. So we check the cover very well, and just to make sure we are doing a good job. Because when you call yourself an expert, you need to do things like experts. So you pick your pieces of wood from the top or around the iron rods, then you put your spacer block wherever it requires. Then check your plumbing work, whether they are all fixed well, and then your electrical pipes, whether it has been jointed to the junction box enough to withstand that 100 years or over 100 years that the building will last. Fine. Aside that, then you now have to fix your machine, the concrete mixer machine, the self-load machine, to carry out the concrete mixing. By then, you already have your chippings, you already have your sand, your clean water, not your salty water, not your river water. Your clean water is already put aside for you to start the flow. Yes. So with that, then you can start the flow works with your very good ratio, depending on the area you are going to work. That will determine, and mostly we used to do 1:2:4, but now we've come down a bit because we want more strength in the concrete. You use your 42.5R, you use your 1 bag of cement, your 2.5 barrels of your sand, and then your 1.5 barrels of your sand, and then your 3 barrels of your chippings, just to make it stronger. There are other ones that you can do more than that, but it depends. So I wouldn't be specific to you that you said, I said, oh, you have to use it for every time you have to use this ratio. It depends. And mostly to your designer, which is a structural engineer especially, will give you a requirement that this is what I want you to use for me. Because of this calculation I've done, this is the type of ratio you're supposed to use for me. So viewers, let's take this very carefully so that mistakes wouldn't happen during construction of a flow. Yeah. Let's avoid those mistakes.
Okay. So to add with that, we also have to consider river sand. When you are doing your flow, you can also consider a river sand to make it more strong, and also to prevent a crack anytime you are doing such concrete works. Yeah.
Because some of the sand that they bring, you require that, you tell them your supplier that you are coming to do a flow, therefore bring me a rough sand. They say when I bring it will be a rough sand, but the sand has arrived and it's clay, full of clay, which cannot be used. But to avoid that, you can go in for your river sand. To have a peace of mind. Yes.
If one is available.
Yes. That one is based on the cash. It's a bit expensive. No other expensive, but a bit expensive.
No, let's also make it as a matter. It should be something that we need to consider. It shouldn't be like no, I don't have money for that matter. Remember, you are doing this for life. So you can't just say, let me just do this one and that's all, and I'll end it. No. So therefore, you need to use the quality, yes, materials that require in the construction.
Yeah. Viewers, it's very interesting. It's very interesting, as you can see. We wish to continue, we wish to do more, but I think we need to pause here for now. Yeah, we need to pause here. Mr. Stephen and Mr. Jacob, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, my
for giving
viewers.
us this kind of education. You will not find it anywhere. You will not. There's no one to dedicate his time and sit here with me to discuss it. No. Yeah, but I think in Jesus Company Limited, you are not only expert, but you also know the content. You know what you are doing, and we are ready to share these ideas to public. Yeah. So, viewers, I think you are very, very well equipped with this information. Yeah. But that doesn't make you an engineer or always try to consult us so that we advise you, we give you the quality knowledge and also experts to undertake your project. Yeah. So, Mr. Jacob, I would like you to say something.
Oh yes, so yes, this is, we are always available. You will never regret it when you contacted us to do a project for you. Just call on us. Our numbers are on the screen. We'll give value to your money. See you then.
Yeah.